Hi everyone, and welcome back to another video. Today we're looking at the June 2006 chemistry paper 1. Sulfur and oxygen are in the same group of the periodic table because they can react with each other. The atomic number of sulfur is 16 and the relative atomic mass of oxygen is 16. C, they have the same number of electrons in their outer shell. Or D, they can form covalent compounds. Sulfur and oxygen both have 6 electrons on their outer shell, so that places them within the same group. So the answer would be C. Item 2 refers to the following diagram, which represents the structure of atom X. So atom X is here and it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 electrons on its outer shell. Atom X is a non-metal, which means that it needs 3 electrons to achieve a stable octet. So atom X will have to gain 3 electrons. Additionally, it would form the 3- ion. So the answer for question 2, which states that if atom X forms an ion, the charge on the ion would most likely be 3-. 3. Which of the following oxides does not react with acids to form only a salt and water? And we have seen this question in the previous past papers. I think it was 2003 or 2004. And the answer is manganese dioxide. And manganese, because of the extra oxygen that is present there, it will go on and form oxygen gas, while the others only form the salt and water. Question 4. Which 2 of the following statements about covalent compounds are true? They are mainly solids. They usually have low melting and boiling points. They are usually insoluble in water, or they contain only ions. They are mainly solid is not true. They usually have low melting and boiling points. They are usually insoluble in water, most of them, and they contain only ions. That's not true. So the answer would be 2 and 3, which is C. Question 5. Which of the following statements illustrates osmosis? A. Pollen dust in random motion in water. I think that is Brownian motion. That would represent the Brownian motion. B. Movement of perfume molecules through the air in a room. That is diffusion, region of high concentration to a region of low concentration. C. Movement of water molecules across a cellophane membrane into a concentrated glucose solution. That would be osmosis. And so the answer would be C, because D is movement of food coloring molecules in a dilute aqueous solution, and that's just the scattering of the food dye into the solution. Question 6. Radioactive isotopes are not normally used in A. Determination of the age of fossils. B. Treatment of cancer. C. Treatment of influenza. I've never heard of that. Or D. Powering of certain types of submarine. So the answer is C. Question 7. PO4 3- is the formula for the phosphate anion. What is the formula of calcium phosphate? And they gave us the element number of calcium, which is 20. And so if there are 20 protons, that means there are 20 electrons within this neutral calcium atom. And if you have 20 electrons, then we can write the electronic configuration of calcium, which is 2882. This tells us that calcium has 2 electrons on its outer shell because the last number in the electronic configuration is 2, and it is also in group 2. That means calcium formed the 2+ ion. And if that reacts with the phosphate, the PO4 3- ion, to get the formula, we switch the 3 and we also switch the 2. So the 3 from the phosphate ion goes to the calcium, and the 2 from the calcium 2+ ion goes to the phosphate. Then we rewrite the formula as Ca3 PO4 in bracket 2, and that answer would be A. Question 8. From which of the following can a solid be obtained by the process of sedimentation? And an example of sedimentation is water or sand in a beaker of water, where the sand would settle to the bottom, and that's an example of a suspension. So 8 is D. Question 9. In the reaction between zinc and dilute sulfuric acid, we have seen this question before, and we know that it is an oxidation reduction reaction. 10. Which of the following elements exhibit allotropy? Carbon is the allotrope that we know at this level in the form of diamond and graphite. Question 11. Which of the following may be defined as that quantity of a substance which contains 6.02 times 10 to the 23 particles of that substance? And so we know that the definition, the mole, can be defined as such in terms of the Avogadro's number. 1 mole of any substance contains 6.02 times 10 to the 23 particles. So that's B. Question 12. The values of X and Y respectively in the equation are, alright, so let us start with what we know, the known. So there are 3 oxygen plus another 3 oxygens, so there are 6 oxygens on this side. So the oxygens need to be balanced, and over here, so that would be 6. And if there are 6 potassium, 6 also need to be on this side. We already have 1, so this is 5. So X is 6, Y is 5. X 6, Y 5, so that's B. Question 13. How many covalent bonds are there in a nitrogen molecule? The nitrogen molecule has the formula N2, but in terms of representing the bond, it would be N triple bond N. So nitrogen has 3 bonds within the nitrogen molecule. Question 14. A subfunnel can be used to separate a mixture of. We use a subfunnel to separate the 2 immiscible liquids. Water and sodium, that's a solution. Another solution, we would have to use distillation to separate water and ethanol. Water and oil is an example of an immiscible liquid, alright, or an immiscible solution. Mixture, sorry, not solution, an immiscible mixture. Kerosene is an oil, so C would be the answer for that one. Question 15. A substance X with a boiling point of 58 degrees Celsius is miscible with another liquid Y of boiling point 94 degrees Celsius. A mixture of these 2 liquids can best be separated into its components by. Alright, so here we have the 2 distillation present. Because we know it's distillation, we would have to use to separate these. But which one, fractional or simple? The difference between a fractional distillation is that under simple distillation, fractional distillation is more complex, or for lacking of a better word, it is more high-tech. It is used to separate the miscible mixture where their boiling points are very, very close, and that is why it is applied with great effect in the petroleum industry, because you can get the different substances coming off at very close temperatures. Okay, while a simple distillation is used to separate the mixtures that are of a large temperature difference. And since the difference between 58 degrees and 94 degrees is large enough, then simple distillation can be applied to separate the mixture. Question 16. Which of the following gases is composed of molecules containing 2 atoms each? Hydrogen chloride is HCl, carbon dioxide is CO2, ammonia is NH3, and methane is CH4. Which one of these contain 2 atoms? And of course, that would be A. Okay. Question 17 refers to the following information. A compound, when treated with concentrated hydrochloric acid, gives off a green gas which bleaches moist red litmus paper. Now, of the options here, only 2 gases will bleach the moist red litmus paper, or would bleach litmus paper, and that's chlorine and sulfur dioxide. But what we have here is the hydrochloric acid, so there are no sulfur dioxide, plus it says a green gas, and chlorine is green, so the answer would be chlorine. Number 18. In which of the following substances will electrolysis not occur when an electrical current is passed through it? A. Sodium hydroxide solution, B. molten sodium chloride, C. solid sodium chloride, or D. dilute sulfuric acid. Of the options there, only C is solid sodium chloride, and because it is in the solid state, the ions are not free to move about where transport the electric current from one to the next and complete the circuit, then the answer is C. Question 19. Sulfuric acid is a stronger acid than ethanoic acid, acetic acid, or vinegar in aqueous solution because sulfuric acid is obtainable in high concentrations, ionizes to a greater extent than ethanoic acid, is more corrosive than ethanoic acid, or causes sugar to char, whereas ethanoic acid doesn't. And the answer for that would be B. It ionizes to a greater extent than the ethanoic acid. Question 20. Barium is below calcium in group 2 of the periodic table. When these metals react with water, the main differences in observation would be the rate of reaction and solubility of the product, B. type of gas evolved, C. reaction with litmus, or D. number of products formed. The answer is A. The solubility of the product would be observed there. Question 21. In which formula does hydrogen have a negative oxidation number? As mentioned before, oxidation will have two oxidation state of negative and positive. If it is with a metal, then it will have a negative oxidation number. Otherwise, it maintains the plus oxidation state. Sodium hydride, and sodium is a metal, so the answer is D. Item 22 refers to the following diagram. The bulb will light the most brightly when X is a sugar solution, B, distilled water, C, aqueous ethanoic acid, or D, dilute sulfuric acid. Dilute sulfuric acid is the strongest acid there, or the strongest electrolyte there, so the answer would be D. A sugar solution is not an electrolyte, because even though the sugar dissolves in water, it doesn't form ions. What the sugar molecules do, they fit between the water molecule, so that is how they dissolve. They do not dissociate into ions, so they would not form electrolytes to conduct electricity. And distilled water, well, water is very extremely weak, so you would not see any light from the bulb. Ethanoic acid is a weak acid, and dilute sulfuric acid is stronger than ethanoic acid, so you would expect D to light the bulb the brightest. Question 23. The solutions are mixed. Two solutions are mixed in order to demonstrate endothermic change. Which of the following techniques will be most appropriate? Taking the mass reading, taking temperature readings, carefully observing color changes, or monitoring the pH of the solutions. Since an endothermic reaction is you observe the beaker getting cold, then taking temperature reading would be the most appropriate in this particular instance. So the answer would be B. 24. The reaction occurring at the cathode during the electrolysis of copper sulfate using inert electrodes is given by the equation. So we are going at the cathode, and the ions that migrated towards the cathode are the copper 2+ ions and the H+ dihydroxonium ions. Okay, so those are the ones migrating towards the cathode. Which one will be preferentially discharged? If we have an inert electrode, since copper is below the hydrogen in the electrochemical series, then copper will be preferentially discharged, and copper gains the electron, as B suggests, to form the copper metal or the copper atom. The answer would be B. Alright, 25. Sodium 24 and sodium 23 are isotopes because they, as you can see, they contain the same number of protons, the same element, but the mass number is different, or the number of neutrons are different. The neutron number is different. So let us see which one react vigorously with water, have the same relative atomic mass, have the same number of protons, conduct electricity. So C would be indicative of the isotope between sodium 24 and sodium 23. Question 26. When solid lead nitrate is heated, it decomposes, giving off nitrogen oxide and oxygen. The balance equation for this reaction is, we have seen this question again before in 2002 paper 1. So let us quickly balance this. There are 3 and 2 6, 6 and 2 12. So that's 12 oxygen over this side. We have 2 right here, plus 8. That's 10 plus 2, that's 12. Alright, so the answer is A. balance it to show you, even though we have seen this question. I just wanted to indicate how it was balanced. Let us confirm the others though. So here we have 2, 3, 6, so 6 oxygen. Over here we have 3 and 2, 5, so this is not balanced. Down here 3 and 2, 6 oxygen atoms. Here 2 and 2, 4 and 1, 5, 5 and 2, 7, so this is not balanced either, because there are 7 oxygen on one side and 6 on another. Here 2, 3 is 6, 6 and 2, 12. Here 2 and 2, 4, 5, 7, so this is not it, so the answer is A. Question 7. Which of the following halogens is a liquid at room temperature? Fluorine is a gas, chlorine is a gas, bromine is a liquid, iodine is a solid, and they're asking for the liquid, so it's bromine, so the answer is A. Question 28. A solution has a pH of 1. This solution would be expected to react with zinc metal to produce hydrogen. We know that acid, if it's a pH 1, that means it's a strong acid, and acid reacts with metal to produce the salt and hydrogen gas. So A, react with zinc metal to produce hydrogen, react with zinc metal to produce a solution of pH 10, neutralize a solution of pH 4, react with hydrochloric acid to produce salt and water. So already an acid, why would it react with another acid? So the answer is A, react with the zinc metal to produce hydrogen. Question 29. Ionic bond formation is best described as the result of the sharing of electrons between the atoms of a metal and non-metal to achieve stability. That's covalent bond, so it's not A. Donation of electrons from a metal to a non-metal to achieve stability. Donation of electrons from a non-metal to a metal to achieve stability. That's not true. Part D, attraction between the positively charged ions of a metal and a pool of electrons, that is metallic bonding. So the best answer there would be D, and I say the best answer. They did say the best answer, because we know that for you to have an ionic bond, you first need to have the ions. And how do you get the ions? One atom must give up the electron to form the positive ion, and another atom must accept the electrons to form the negative ions. Now, when you have the positive ions and the negative ions, they combine in terms of attraction. They will be attracted to each other, and that attraction between the positive ions and the negative ions resulted in ionic bonding. So B would be the best. That is why I say B is the best one. It's the donation of the electrons from the metal to the non-metal. So this would represent the steps going towards ionic bonding. Hence the word best is highlighted there. Item 30 refers to the following graph, which shows the changes in temperature with time for a substance heated until no further physical changes take place. During which sections of the graph is the substance changing its state? So we start from the solid here. I'll move up. This is the transition state between the solid and the liquid. So that's part of it. That's one. And then it is completely a liquid. Then it moves up. The temperature increases, starting to change phase now. Here's the transition state, where it is between the liquid and the gas, and then the temperature increases, more energy, and it becomes a gas. So these plateaus right here would represent the transition state. So that's 2 and 4. 2 and 4. So that's C. Alright. Question 31. When heat is given off to the surroundings during a chemical reaction, it is because bond breaking releases energy as well as bond making requires less energy than is released when new bonds are formed. That's true. Requires more energy than that release when new bonds are formed, or is an endothermic process where bond making is an exothermic one. So the answer for that is B. 32. An excess of magnesium powder is added to 50 centimeter cube of dilute sulfuric acid and the reaction is allowed to continue until no more hydrogen evolves. Which of the following best represent a complete reaction? And so we have seen this question in 2003 past paper. So we'll go ahead and know that the answer is D. Right? Thirty-three. A lump of metal is reacted with an acid to produce hydrogen gas. Which of the following procedures could be employed in order to increase the rate of reaction? What are the factors that affect the rate of reaction? Concentration, temperature, catalyst, surface area, what else? Pressure. Well, pressure and concentration would be almost the same thing. Pressure is for gases, while concentration would be for solution. So let us see. Increasing the temperature at which the reaction is carried out. Yes. Subdividing the lump of metal. Yes. We are increasing the surface area. Reducing the concentration of the acid. No. So it's 1 and 2. 1 and 2, which is B. 34. When 100 centimeter cubes of a 2 molar hydrochloric acid are added to 5 grams of granulated zinc, hydrogen is evolved at a certain rate. If 5 grams of powdered zinc were used instead, the rate of production of hydrogen would increase because of the greater concentration of zinc, increase because of the increased surface area of zinc, that seems like it, decrease because of the decreased reactivity of zinc powder, decrease because of the lower solubility of the powdered zinc. So here they added 5 grams of granulated zinc and hydrogen is evolved at a certain rate. But they are wondering, if you were to add 5 grams of powdered zinc, then what would happen? Then we would expect an increase because of the surface area of zinc was increased, which affect the rate of reaction. Question 35. Which of the following aqueous solutions contains 1 mole of hydrogen ions? We have seen this question in the previous video. We go ahead and know that the answer is C. Ethanol. 36. Ethanol can react with concentrated sulfuric acid to produce ethene. The reaction is referred to as dehydration. Alright. 37. Which of the following equations represent a condensation reaction? A would most likely be the condensation reaction. B is addition reaction, the addition of the hydrogen halide. C would be the halogenation of alkanes, and D would be a neutralization reaction. So the answer is A, would be the polymerization of glucose. 38. Which of the following compounds is not a member of the alkene series? The quickest way to identify an alkene by looking at the formula is the ratio between carbon and hydrogen. The ratio for carbon and hydrogen in an alkene is always 1 to 2. So here the option that does not contain the 1 to 2 ratio between carbon and hydrogen would be the answer. So this is a 1 to 2. This is also a 1 to 2. This is a 1 to 3 ratio. D is a 1 to 2. So the answer is C. Alright. Question 39 states that octane, the major component of gasoline, is an alkane with 8 carbon atoms per molecule. Which of the following is the formula for octane? Octane comes under the alkane homologous series, and it has the formula CnH2n plus 2. And oct is 8, so that's 2 8 16 and 2 18, so it's C8AH18, so that's D. Number 40, the compound ethene is described as being unsaturated. This means that carbon atoms in ethene are linked by single bonds. Molecule has insufficient hydrogen atoms. Carbon atoms in the molecule are very reactive. The molecule contains at least one double bond. And I've explained a little more details in the previous video for this question, about this question. Item 41 refers to the following equation. Here we have ethene reacting with water in the presence of concentrated sulfuric acid. The pressure should be there as well. There are other conditions that would force the hydroxy group from water into the ethene molecule to break the bond of the ethene molecule to form the ethanol. So the product I is ethanol. So this is one of the ways in which alkene turn into alcohol. Question 42. The number of isomers of butane C4H10 is 2. Isomers starts at carbon 4 and it's 2. Carbon 5 would be 3. Carbon 6 would be 4, and so forth. And this works for the alkanes, straight chain alkanes. Items 43 to 44 refer to the following substances: natural gas, cyclohexene, ethanol, vinegar. Match each item below with one of the substances above. Each substance may be used once, more than once, or not at all to answer the items below. 43 says decolorizes bromine water. That's the alkene. Is an unsaturated hydrocarbon. That's the alkene again, in this case cyclohexene. So that's B. Ethanol may be used as a fuel because it has a high heat of combustion. It is easily converted to carbon. It is easily converted to ethane, or as a low heat of formation. The answer is A. When ethanol is burned, it gives off a high amount of energy, and so that can be used to used as fuel because of its energy efficiency. 46. Glucose is converted to starch or cellulose by condensation polymerization, which is C. 47. The following represents a portion of the nylon molecule, a polyamide. XY, XY. X and Y represent the monomers minus the functional groups, and the dash represent the linkage. The linkage could best be represented by an amide has the functional group C double bond O N H, and that would be D. 48. Which of the following substances give a blue coloration with iodine? Iodine react with starch to give a bluish black color. That's B. 49. Hydrocarbons are obtained naturally from petroleum. Question 50. During the manufacture of ethanol by fermentation, the gas evolves carbon dioxide, right? And carbon dioxide will turn lime water cloudy. So that's D. 51. The reaction of fats with concentrated aqueous sodium hydroxide is commonly referred to as fat is an ester. And if we're adding sodium hydroxide, it means that it is hydrolysis of ester, base hydrolysis of ester. So the process is saponification, where the sodium salt would produce, the organic sodium salt would produce, or the process of making soap. 52. During the digestion of polysaccharide by the human body, the main process occurring is, again, hydrolysis. Which of the following may be true of metals? They form solid chlorides. They generally form basic oxide. True also. They conduct electricity only when molten. That's not true. So it's 1 and 2. 1 and 2. 54. What is observed when excess aqueous ammonia is added to a solution of copper sulfate? Referring to qualitative analysis, adding ammonia, aqueous ammonia to copper sulfate to a solution that copper sulfate is suspected to be in, we would see a dark blue precipitation of the ammonium copper complex. Sorry, a dark blue solution, not precipitation. Sodium hydroxide would form the precipitation, but ammonia, it would be a dark blue solution of the copper ammonium complex, right? Items 55 and 56 refer to the following equation. Nitrogen gas plus hydrogen gas gave ammonia, and the change in enthalpy, or delta H, equal to minus 92 kilojoules per mole. 55 says the role of the catalyst in this reaction is to increase the yield of ammonia in the mixture, lower the energy level of the reactants, increase the rate of production of ammonia, or decrease the amount of heat lost. It's not D, increase the rate of production of ammonia, or is it increase the yield of ammonia in the mixture? It's not A, lower the energy level of the reactants. A catalyst lower the energy level of the activation energy of the reaction, not the reactants, the reaction. So the catalyst in this case would increase the rate of production of ammonia, which is C. 56. The notation delta H equal to minus 92 kilojoules per mole means that 92 kilojoules of energy are required for the reaction to proceed. No, 92 kilojoules of energy are released during the reaction. Yes, C. 92 kilojoules of energy are required to break the bonds in NH2 and H2. 92 kilojoules of energy are required to form the bonds in ammonia. So the process is exothermic, and it means that it releases this amount of energy during the reaction. So it is B. 56. Which of the following substances may be responsible for acid rain? Sulfur dioxide and hydrogen sulfide. 58. Which of the following processes gives a different gaseous product from the others? Photosynthesis releases oxygen it releases oxygen along with glucose. Respiration is the reverse of photosynthesis, so carbon dioxide is produced. Oxidation of carbon monoxide would produce carbon dioxide, and heating calcium carbonate would also produce carbon dioxide. So the only one that produces oxygen is A. 59. Aluminum is obtained industrially by reducing its oxide in the blast furnace. Blast furnace is iron, so that's a no-no. B. Using magnesium to displace it from aqueous solution. Not at all. C. The electrolysis of molten cryolite. Or D. The electrolysis of molten alumina. Which of the two? Because we know it's one of the electrolysis. Well, it turns out that cryolite is used to lower the temperature, even though it's an aluminum, it's a source of aluminum, or it's an aluminum containing compound, but it used to lower the energy of the system or the process in making aluminum, pure aluminum metal, while alumina is the removal of the impurities from bauxite, that red dirt bauxite. Okay, so the answer is C, the electrolysis of molten alumina. And question 60, both glass and ceramics contain the non-metal silicon. Alright, so we have come to the end of this video. Thank you for watching, and remember to subscribe and like. See you soon.